He hands me back my phone in my hand and tells me, if you don't block that fool's number, I'm gonna beat your ass. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sophia, and on today's video I'm going to be telling another story. Today's video is going to be the beginning of the X-Files. If you guys understood that, I posted it on my story on Instagram. If you're not following me, I'll put my username right here. So basically what I did is I asked you guys if you guys were ready for me to start the X-Files series on my YouTube, and you guys said yes. If you don't know what the X-Files or what I meant by that, it's gonna be a bunch of stories basically about my ex, basically about me and my ex, and just I can't wait to get into the story. Basically just about, you know, the things that happened when we were together, and just it's a bunch of different stories, and they're real entertaining. Some of them are just, oh god, I don't even know how to explain it. Oh god, I don't even know how to explain it, but I just know that today's story is hilarious, and I hope you guys laugh with me. Well, I'm just gonna, I can laugh about this now. I can laugh about this story now, because when it happened, I wasn't laughing, but now that I look back, I'm like, oh my god. So I'm just gonna get into it. I'm gonna stop talking because I know y'all hate when I talk too much in the beginning of my videos, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get into the story. This story is about the time that my ex called me while I was on a date. And disclaimer, neither of these guys in this story are in my life anymore. This story already happened. It happened a long time ago. I don't really like to tell stories right after they happen, because it's real easy for people to figure out who they are in my story, and I just don't want to put anybody on blast. And for that reason, I'm going to put fake names in my stories. I did this for one of my stories, and I'm gonna do it again in this story. So if you're ready to hear a story about the time that my ex called me while I was on a date, just go ahead and keep on watching. So this story happened around Christmas time, and I'm telling you guys that just so you guys can get in perspective of what type of weather it was, because it kind of, you know, has a big part in this story. So I was talking to this guy, and we're gonna give him a name, because I know y'all are gonna try to figure it out. God, let's see. We can name him Jackson, whatever. So I was talking to this guy named Jackson, and around this time, we weren't really on good terms, but we were still talking. So I was always the one who would say, hey, you want to go do this, or let's go on a date, or let's go to the movies, or let's go. And I was always spitting out ideas, and he would never really do that. He was never really down for anything. Not that he was necessarily a homebody, but he just didn't really want to do anything. So I felt like I was always putting in the effort, and it got real annoying real quick. But for some reason, and I know you ladies can relate, I stayed. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but I stayed, and I know you ladies can relate. Okay, so at this time, Christmas time, I had asked him, said, hey, there's this new movie coming out, and I can't even remember which movie it was. I can't remember which movie it was, but I had asked him, hey, do you want to go to the movies? And he was like, I don't know, what times are the movies? And I'm like, well, there's a few showings tonight. There's one at like 8, there's another one at like 9, and there's one at 10. I don't know which one you want to go to. And he's like, well, I mean, we can just go to the one at 8. Okay, fine. And at this time, I wasn't even doing anything. I was literally at my house, and I was just laying on the couch. I remember I was watching TV, and I just said, I kind of want to go to the movies. I kind of want to hang out with him. So I threw out the idea of going to the movies. He chose a time, and I had asked him, okay, do you want me to come pick you up? He said, yes, okay, let me come pick you up. I'll be there in a little bit. And every time that we would hang out and I would drive, he'd most likely always be at one of his family members' houses. And so I would always go, and I would always go pick him up at his family member's house. And then we would go from there. And that's when I would drive. When he would drive, you know, he'd come pick me up at my house because I would always just be at my house. So this time I drove over to his family member's house, and I was in the driveway and I was just waiting for him to come out. And in my car, my phone is connected to my Bluetooth. And at this time, my phone started ringing as I was waiting for him to come down the stairs so that we can go to the movies. My phone started ringing, and every time it rings with a Bluetooth, whether I have the number saved or not, it doesn't show up, it doesn't show the caller ID in my car. And so when my phone rang, I looked over at the little screen in my car, and it was just a phone number. And I'm like, and I don't necessarily like answering the phone when I don't have the number saved, but for some reason I was like, okay, I'm gonna answer the phone. I just want to see who it is, you know, who wants to bug me. I'm like, it was like a Friday night or like a Saturday night or something. And I was like, okay, so whatever. I answered the phone on my Bluetooth. Y'all, the second I answered the phone, I look again at the number and I'm like, oh no. I recognize this number, and I was like, and I had already answered it, and I was like, oh great. And so I answered it in my car, right? And on my little steering wheel was a button, so I answered it, and I was like, hello? And the voice was like, is this Sophia? And and I was like, who's this? And he was like, you don't know who this is? Y'all, he was stuttering. He was stuttering. He was stuttering. He's like, I don't know if he was nervous or what, but he could not hold it together. And he's like, do you know who this is? And I'm like, no, I don't. I was like, who is this? And I knew damn well who it was. And he was like, this is we gotta give him a name. We're gonna give him a name. Let's see. Oh God, I should have thought about this. Ricardo. That's his name. He's like, this is Ricardo. And I'm like, oh. I was like, yeah. And y'all, this whole time I'm waiting for Jackson to come down the stairs, and I'm like, oh my God, like, oh God, this is gonna be so bad, because y'all, I knew how Jackson was, and he was not gonna take this very well. But I hadn't talked to Ricardo for, God, hella long time, y'all. It was hella long. Like, I had no reason to talk to him, and so I wasn't talking to him. So when he called me, the reason I stayed on the phone was because I thought like something happened. Like I was super close with his family, and I was like, damn, like I wonder if something happened in his family. That's why he's so shaken up. Like, I honestly had no idea. And so I was like, no, you know. And he's like, oh, it's Ricardo. And I was just like, oh, like, okay, like, how can I help you? Like, hello, like, why are you calling me? And he was like, hey, so I just got a new phone, and your Apple ID is logged into my phone, and I don't know how to get it out, and I don't know if you want to come over here and you can put in your password, and I won't look. If you want to put in your he's like, if you want to put in your password, I won't look. I'll just look away. But I just want you to be like, I just want to be logged out, because Apple said that if the person who's logged in logs out, then I can log into mine. And I'm like, hold up. I was like, okay. I was like, why don't you just take it to the Apple store and have them restart your phone, or, you know, do whatever they do? That way you don't have to call me. And he was like, yeah, well, I've done that. I talked to them, and they said that whoever's logged in has to put in their password, log out, and then I can log in. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna meet up with you because you can figure this out yourself. And I was trying so hard to not be rude, because I was never like rude. Like, that's just not the kind of person I was. And so if I were to be like, well, figure it out your damn self, like, bye, stop calling me, like, that's not my character. No matter what happened, like, it's just not in me to like be rude like that. And so I'm trying to tell him, like, I'm not gonna meet up with you, you know, all this and that. And here comes little old Jackson down the stairs, and I'm like, oh boy. I was like, like, this is so bad. And so because I stopped talking, because I saw Jackson coming, Ricardo starts talking again, and he goes, yeah, well, I already called Apple and I've been on chat with them, and he's like telling me everything that he's been going through with the process of trying to get my Apple ID out, like logged out of his phone. And here comes little old Jackson, like talking hella like as he's gonna open the doors, like, hey, you know, whatever, this and that. And I mute the phone because I don't want Ricardo to hear me like of who I'm with, because it's just gonna be a whole mess. It's gonna be a whole motherfucking mess. And I just don't need that. So when Jackson came in the car, I muted the phone so that Ricardo couldn't hear me or Jackson. And I told Jackson, hold on, before you say anything, I'm on the phone with my ex. It's nothing, don't worry. He's like, you're on the phone with who? And I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy. And so I unmute the phone and I was like, look, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not gonna meet up with you. And I'm like backing out of the driveway, and I start to drive so that we can be on our way to the movies. And so I'm like backing out and I start driving on the road. And I was like, look, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not gonna meet up with you to put in my password. And he's like, well, you can text it to me. I'm like, I'm not texting you my Apple ID password. Like, no, like, no, like you can, no, just no. I'm not texting you my Apple ID password, and I'm not gonna meet up with you. And he's like, all right, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, just go to the Apple store. I'm sure they have another solution, you know, than me meeting up with you, because I just don't want to meet up with you. Like, it's not happening. And so here comes little old Jackson, you know, sitting in the passenger seat, just waiting for an opportunity to say something so that Ricardo can hear that I'm with a dude. And so here comes Jackson, and he's like, hey man, you're grown, figure it out yourself. And I'm like, oh God. I was like, can you stop? Like, and then Ricardo was like, all right. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, Ricardo. Like, just, I don't know what to tell you. Just take it to the Apple store. And he's like, all right. And so then Jackson was like, yeah, man, come on now. Just figure it out yourself. And then he told me, hang up. Like, why are you still talking to him? Hang up. And I'm like, oh God. And I was like, all right, Ricardo, you know, don't know what to tell you. And so I clicked a little button on my steering wheel and I hang up the phone call. And I look at Jackson and he's looking straight. Like, I'm still driving to the movies because what we're supposed to do. And Jackson is just in the passenger seat, just like, he's pissed. Like, he is pissed, y'all. And I'm like, oh God, maybe I shouldn't have answered the phone, or maybe I shouldn't have been talking to him for as long as I was. But I mean, the damage is done. And it's not like I was flirting with him. It's not like he was flirting with me. It's not like really anything. I was literally just telling him, trying to be super nice, of, hey, I don't really know what to tell you, just go take it to the Apple store. I'm not meeting up with you, point blank, period, end of story. You know, Jackson had to put in his like 2 cents and tell me to hang up the phone, tell him to figure it out himself, he's grown or whatever. And I'm just there like, I'm just gonna keep driving to the movies. And so then here we are driving to the movies, and we're on the freeway already, and it starts raining. And I'm like, oh no, because remember I told y'all it was around Christmas time, so December, winter, and it starts raining. And I was like, oh boy. I was like, this is gonna get him in a mood where he's not even gonna want to go anymore, on top of me talking on the phone with my ex, and like, we're probably, you know, not even gonna go. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, so can you like pick out the seats? I'll pull up the app on my phone. Can you just pick out the seats? That way when we get there, we can just, you know, show them that we have our tickets, and we can just go inside and sit down and watch the movie. And he doesn't say nothing, y'all. He is silent. And so I'm on my phone and I'm just, you know, looking up the app, and I hand it over to him, and he's like looking on the seats and like figuring out which seat he wants to sit at. And he hands me the phone, and he's like, here, I don't even want to go anymore. Just take me back home. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, just take me back home. I don't want to go anymore. And I'm like, why? He goes, what do you mean why? I don't want to go to the movies anymore. Turn around. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I was like, oh, I'm already halfway there. So are you sure you don't want to go? He's like, yeah, I don't want to go. Turn around and take me back to so-and-so's house, his family member's house. He's like, take me back. And I was like, all right. And so I like turn around, you know, take an exit, and I could go back on the other side of the freeway, and I'm driving back to his family member's house. And I was like, well, there's another showing later, maybe we can go to that one. He's like, no. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm gonna drop you off, you know, maybe once you calm down a little bit, we can try again and we can go to the other showing. And he's like, no, I don't want to go, Sophia. I'm not going with you. That's it. I'm not going anymore. You pissed me off and I don't want to go with you. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know, whatever. Just, I dropped him off. I went home. I didn't text him. There I go back on the couch. And my dad's like, that was fast. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I didn't, obviously, you know, I didn't tell him anything. And so I'm laying on the couch, turn on the TV again, and like a little bit later, I get a text message from Jackson. And Jackson was like, so are we gonna go? And I'm like, we're gonna go where? And he goes, are we gonna go to the movies? And I'm like, I thought you didn't wanna go. And he goes, well, I'm not mad anymore. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, which showing do you wanna go to? There's a 9 o'clock or there's a 10 o'clock? I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, and I'm like trying to figure out with him, you know, trying to be like cooperative and just be like, okay, well, now you want to go, we can go to the 9 o'clock, we can go to the 10 o'clock, like just tell me and we can go. And we're like going back and forth. But while we're going back and forth, guess who else sends me a text message? Ricardo sends me a text message, and this huge long paragraph of, I've been on chat with Apple and they've been telling me that they have to meet up, or that I have to meet up with you, and that you have to put in your password, that there's no other way that they can restart my phone because your Apple ID is logged in, and I know you logged into my phone or my laptop in like 2000 whatever, and for some reason it's still in there. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm not meeting up with you, and I probably shouldn't respond, because if I respond and Jackson finds out, he's gonna be pissed. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And my dad's sitting right there, and I was like, I'm just gonna tell him because he's gonna help me. And so I asked my dad, I was like, look, Ricardo texted me, and he's like, he texted you? Because he knew about him like in the past, and he's like, he texted you? He's like, for what? And I was like, well, and I told him that my Apple ID is logged in. He goes, well, just tell him to take it to Apple. And I'm like, I did, like, trust me, I did. And he says that they can't do it. He's been on chat with Apple, and he goes, well, just tell him that that's what he can do, and that's the only option, and don't talk to you again. And I was like, damn. I was like, all right. And so I texted him back, and I was like, look, I don't know what to tell you. I already told you I'm not going to meet up with you. I'm not going to text you my password. And you should just go to the Apple store and have them figure it out. And then I sent that message. I tried to change my password in my phone for my Apple ID. And when I did that, it sent me a little notification saying that all of the devices that I've been logged into with that Apple ID and that Apple ID password have been logged out because I just changed my password. And so I told Ricardo that, I texted him that, and he goes, I was like, you should be fine because I just changed my password. If it doesn't work, I did my part. I don't know what to tell you. Just take it to Apple and that's it. And so he's like, it still says it doesn't work. And I was like, all right, look, like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not gonna keep going back and forth with you. I didn't answer him. I didn't answer, and by this time I had asked Jackson. He picked a movie time. I don't even remember which one he picked. And I texted him and I said, okay, well, can you drive, since I just drove and you drove halfway and you made me turn around, so can you drive this time? And he's like, no, I'm not driving. And I was like, well, then we're not going, because what? No, like, you're not about to tell me, you're not about to ask me to, like, you're not about to, I'm not about to go pick you up, have you throw a fit, make me turn around, drop you off, go back home, and then when you decide that you're ready to go, tell me to come pick you up, and then we'll try round two. Like, no, I'm not doing that. If you want to come, then you can come pick me up and we can go to the movies. Well, he didn't like that, so he told me, well, I'm gonna just go to the movies with so-and-so, and he would name a girl. Well, I'm gonna just go to the movies with this girl. I'm gonna just go hang out with this girl. And oh, like, my anxiety, for some reason, I know you ladies can relate when y'all with somebody and you just can't get out, and you should have. I know y'all can relate when they throw that at you. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. But I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. Okay, fine, let's go. I'll just go pick you up right now. And that was so stupid of me. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like I shouldn't have done that. I should just been like, okay, fine, like then just go with so-and-so. Like what the hell? And what the hell are you talking to me for if you're just gonna go with somebody else? But no, I was just like, okay, like I'll go pick you up, we're gonna go, and like whatever, this and that. And so what do? I drive over, and when I drive over, he says, drive over here and I'll drive my car. And I'm like, okay, fine, like it wasn't that far, whatever. So I drive over there and we get into his car, and so he's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, and my like anxiety is like, oh my God, like I feel like I should tell him that Ricardo texted me and that we've been talking, and it's not even like that, but I just feel like I should still tell him. So what do? We're on the freeway ×2, and I tell him, you're probably not gonna like this, but Ricardo texted me, and he's like, he puts out his hand for me to put my phone in his hand. Like literally, like, give it to me. So what do? I give it to him, y'all. I was so dumb. Don't do this. Don't let guys treat you like this. Like, I'm telling y'all, it was a long time ago. I've learned my lesson. Don't let guys treat you like this because they're trash. Just don't do it. So don't let guys treat you like this, okay? Just don't. So I hand him my phone, and he looks at the messages, he reads them, he answers him for you, because remember y'all, I didn't respond to Ricardo. So he responds for me, and he says, you're grown, figure it out yourself. And he sends it. He hands me back my phone in my hand and tells me, if you don't block that fool's number, I'm gonna beat your ass. Word for word. And I was like, okay, so what do? I'll block his number. So I block his number. We don't have to worry about, you know, him texting me or whatever, this and that. We go to the movies. It definitely wasn't as fun or as good of a time as it should have been because of all the drama. Maybe I shouldn't have answered the phone once I realized like who it was. But I mean, I did, and I feel like it would have been different if he was trying to like get with me. And I mean, he did ask me to meet up with me, but I was like no, and he's like text me and I'm like no. So outcome could have been different, but it wasn't. So that was the time that my ex called me while I was on a date. I hope y'all I hope y'all enjoyed this story. I ended up seeing Ricardo again and in person, and when I ran into him that night came up, and I had asked him, because like I said, y'all, like whatever happened in the past, like it wasn't in me to be like a rude person or to like hold it against him or whatever, you know, this and that. And so when I ran into him, I was like, hey, like, did you ever get your Apple ID fixed? He's like, yeah, I ended up getting it fixed. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, who was that, your boyfriend? And I was like, no, he wasn't. And he was like, he sounds very protective of you. And I'm like, yeah. And I look at him and I was like, sounds like someone else that I knew. And he couldn't say nothing because he was trying to call out Jackson for the same shit that he would do. Who picks out these men for me? Not even men, who picks out these boys for me? Because nah. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this story. I will definitely be back with more stories. That was the first story in the series of the X-Files. I hope y'all liked it. I have so many more stories. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps me out so much to know that you guys like these stories, to know that you guys like my story times in general, so that I can keep doing stories. So that way I know that if you guys like the X-Files series, just let me know, give me some love, show me some love, and I'll definitely be back with another story. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for showing me love. Thank you guys for just, I don't know, supporting me and everything like that. Without you guys, I wouldn't keep going. Some of you guys always, you know, DM me and always text me and stuff like that, just saying, when's the next story time? I loved your last video. I can't wait to see more and stuff like that. And I love it. It really does make my day. So I will definitely be back with more stories. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time in my next video. Bye guys.